before Pete and I start frolicking, I want to urge you to go to the Batman Book Club X and Instagram page and see how you can enter a giveaway. In a really fun partnership with Rock'em Socks, we're giving away Batman socks. I love Rock'em socks. I have a few pairs myself. They're comfortable, they're unique, they have all sorts of prints, especially of Batman. Most of my pairs have Batman on them. I also like to wear them while I'm reading my comics. So make sure to check out the giveaway on X and Instagram at the Batman BC, and also check out Rock'em Socks online at rock'emsocks.com.
All it takes is one bad day.
You've eaten Gotham's wealth, its spirit, but your feast is nearly over.
This is not my home. It's an operating table. And I'm the surgeon.
Why aren't you laughing?
From this moment on, none of you are safe.
Welcome to the Batman Book Club, a podcast exploring the Dark Knight Library. I'm your host, Ryan Lauer. The Batman Book Club is a proud member of the Batman Podcast Network, hosted by Batman on Film. Go to batmanonfilm.com, click on podcast, and you'll find the Batman Podcast Network that has a whole list of other Bat-related shows that also like to dive into other nerdy subjects that all of us love to frolic about in our free time. Batman Book Club is also on Patreon. If you like what's going on with the show, you want to help support the show, keep the generators running in the Wayne Manor study, just go to patreon.com/thebatmanbc. Now, thank you for listening to episode 228, Batman in February. Another month has wrapped up, which means that it's time to look at all the new Batman comics that came out this month. And of course, can't do that by myself. I never do it by myself. Been doing it with this partner for 4 years, 3 years, whatever this shit. I don't know. His name's Peter R. Verra. Peter, welcome back to the Batman Book Club.
Has it been 4 years?
I think so. Actually, yeah.
It's a lot of Batman.
That's a lot of Batman books. We've done the work, Peter. And actually, speaking of like anniversaries, we are less than a week away from the 5-year anniversary of the show. Since that very first episode dropped. And you know who was on that first episode?
Eric Holzman.
Not Eric Holzman, no. It's Peter R. Verra.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And that was where the audio was lagging, so we were talking over each other. And I think one of us was answering the other one's question before they finished asking it. I think it'd probably be a rough listen. And also, I think it's the most downloaded episode of the Batman Book Club. So that's great.
Yeah, I think the first episode's always the most downloaded episode of any podcast, actually.
Yeah, because people want to test it out. Be like, what's this like? Huh? What are they talking about?
But yeah, that was a long time ago.
That was a long time. Before we dive into to the month, Pete, we're in a unique position where we actually are going to comment on Batman comics, because this week, for anybody who missed it somehow, there's a presentation by DC that announced in September a new Batman #1 comic book. So renumbering of the Batman title is going to begin in September, and a new creative team of writer Matt Fraction and artist Jorge Jimenez. And Matt Fraction, so I forget where they were.
He did the Jimmy Olsen story a few years ago.
Comics Pro. Where they had us, and Matt Fraction was actually there. And he said, Jorge and I have a very superhero forward kind of take on Batman. We've got a new Batmobile, we've got a new costume, we've got new characters, and we've got a lot of old ones too, good and bad. All the stuff that makes Batman the coolest character in comics. We want to celebrate it all. This is, as DC has mentioned, in the character's 86 year history. This is the 4th renumbering of the Batman title, because as we know, it went on forever since launching in 1940, and then the New 52 did a #1, Rebirth did a #1, and now this is going to be #1 after the Hush 2 storyline with Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee wraps up. So it kicks off in September. So before my thoughts, Pete, what do you think about this? Because of course this is a big deal, Peter.
This is not a big deal.
It's not a big deal.
It's not a big deal at all. This is what the industry does. This is how comics work now. Large numbers aren't a big deal. Certain legacies aren't a big. It's not important anymore. You know, #1s don't even really matter. A lot of people are going to collect them and hope that it'll be expensive and they can resell them, and that's just not going to be the case. So It's not a big deal at all. All that matters is the new creative team. People are freaking out about this numbering thing for no reason at all. So
All right.
that's it.
You hear that? Pete's cheerful about all of it.
I
Um,
no, it's I'm sure it'll be good. I mean, usually when Jorge Jimenez is attached to a book, it's not very good. Not due to his own, not to his own fault. He's just the
yeah,
artist, right? But
yeah.
the story, he can't control that. He's never really been the artist of an A-list story. So hopefully at some point we can get his somebody's writing ability to match his artwork.
Yeah, so on the numbering deal for me, I too don't think it's a big deal. I think number ones are big sellers. So I do think a lot of people are going to flock to Batman number one because that's easier to pick up than Batman number 163. Uh, it's just it's a good marketing strategy. It's how you can boost some sales numbers, and it's kind of whatever to me as well. You made a good point where you'd mentioned on Batman on Film with Bill that you like you're almost a little bit more passionate about keeping the Detective Comics numbering as the legacy numbering, and I really agree with that too
Yeah,
because I think
that's it.
that's a game changer of a title. Let's leave that one how it is. Everything else that came after it, sure, renumber it. It's
At
not a
least on the
big
DC
deal.
side, like it's just a detective in action. Like
Yeah,
those should be the only ones that keep the numbering, in my opinion.
I totally agree. As for the creative team, yeah, you and I have mentioned on here how many times Jimenez is fantastic, and unfortunately to us, he hasn't had a great script. So I know the name of Matt Fraction as the writer. I actually
Mhm.
read he did Hawkeye, and I remember a friend had me read some Hawkeye of his, and that was really good and entertaining. It felt very like Nightwing-ish, very grounded.
Mhm.
Um, Character work on that was good, but I haven't really read anything. I know he did a good Invincible Iron Man run. I've never, incidentally enough, he did Sex Criminals with Chip Zdarsky. And I've never read it, but like people love that book too. I do
Yeah.
think he's an accomplished writer. So yet again, DC is, brought in an accomplished writer. So I really hope that I don't know that he brings a little status quo Batman back because perfect time to do it if you're doing like a reset. Because I don't think it's a full on relaunch, but I guess I don't know because what I just kind of read is all that DC said. So they haven't said it's complete relaunch. It's a kind of sort of relaunch. It's only a renumbering. We don't know.
What is
Uh,
what is a relaunch to you? What does that mean to you?
a relaunch to me is I kind of feel like they did with the previous two number ones. Because those didn't feel like we're starting from the ground up again of let's tell his origin and all that. It's just like what you know of Batman, that's Batman in number one,
Mhm.
like with
To me,
what we think of with Batman.
this is just a new team. That's all it says.
Yeah.
And that's all it was just an announcement for a new team, and it's going to start from one instead of 100, and
Yeah.
that's fine. And
It,
I
to
just,
me,
yeah, it's just people are freaking out about this one thing.
it's a perfect
Spider-Man's got like
opportunity.
7 volumes now, so
Yeah.
or Amazing Spider-Man's got 7 volumes. So I'm just like, I don't know. Have you been reading comics lately? Like, this is what you're surprised by? Batman's renumbering.
It happens a lot in comic books. It
Yeah,
just does.
there.
And so I just think it's a perfect time to take Batman back to Wayne Manor, bring Alfred back as a butler, and
Well, I
Batman
mean,
gets to
yeah,
do Batman things. Like that's
that's
kind
true. I'm
of
also just like,
please.
but what caused that? Like, what is the event? Like, remember, Alfred's dead, so something's got to bring him back. You're right. There's got to be
Yeah, I guess.
like what you're talking about is you want Batman rebooted, but they're not doing that. You know, this is just we're going to take existing Batman and we're starting from number one, and we'll see where it goes from there. That's
I didn't
kind
say
of
they're not doing it either.
yeah, but like in order to but what I'm saying is like in order for them to reboot Batman and kind of start over and kind of correct some mistakes, you've got to there's going to be some sort of event to do that. And if that hasn't happened yet, we don't know if that's not announced, but I feel like in order to bring certain people back to the fold, you've got to create some sort of comic book event, which some people aren't going to like.
I mean, I
They'll
guess, but
like the end result. They'll not like the way they got there.
I mean that would also mean then too that whatever the last uh whatever August Batman numbering is then maybe it is 63, 163. Like he's gonna have to have this suit that Jimenez has drawn then, because otherwise he's just changing suits without explanation. Like I don't.
Which
I think
happens all the time, I feel like, right? Like
I don't know. I think you
the
could.
suit from World's Finest is different from Batman.
Yeah, that's true. I
I
don't
just
know.
feel
I
like
guess
people
we'll
are
just
looking
wait and
so
see.
hard into this. I'm like, all they're doing, they just announced a new writer. Like,
Yeah.
what are you
I
guys
think it
making a
gives an
big deal about?
opportunity to go to like a little bit more status quo, which is, you and I finally have said
Yeah, I just
Batman's finally been doing Batman things in the legacy books that I'm ready for that, and I hope return him to some more classic things that we're used to. That's
no,
all.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I'd love to have Gordon back atop the GCPD shining the signal. There's a lot of little
GCP.
things
Yeah,
I
but
would like to
there you go.
see, but I feel like there's got to be a story in between that makes them happen. You
Let's
know?
revisit this conversation in 6 months, shall we?
Yeah.
With Batman number one.
It opens up with Alfred like just opening Wayne Manor. Welcome, sir.
I'm back.
No explanation.
Yeah, he just says hello.
Hello, would you like
Moving
some
on.
crumpets?
Yes, I love it.
Master Wayne is in the study.
All right, let's talk. Let's move from Batman number one to Batman number 157, shall we? Shall we? Yes. To kick
Yeah,
us
you
off
start.
about Batman in February.
Because you're going to be reviewing it all, so.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
Batman 157. This wraps up Chip Zdarsky in his run on Batman. This is he's not leaving me with a bad taste in my mouth. He is Chip Zdarsky. We've been a fan of this last arc. It's been pretty fun. It's been
Mhm.
cool. Jimenez obviously has been drawing. No, I think Tony Daniel's been doing some issues. It's had a mix of artists for this arc, but it all comes
Mhm.
down to like the story itself. And the story itself is actually Zdarsky's done a lot. He's had a lot going on. Some cool ways of incorporating the Riddler, the Court of Owls, and then obviously like we saw the the big surprise last month was whoever this Commander Star was, and that was actually KG Beast, which was a fun little twist, a nice
Mhm.
reveal. So, oh yeah, and then Mad Hatter pops up in this one. Bullock has
Which
some
I
things to
enjoyed a
do.
lot, but
Yeah,
just a little bit, like hadn't seen him in a while.
it was a really fun, action-packed issue and finale to this arc and Zdarsky's run. So overall, I haven't really liked Zdarsky's run that much, but this last arc is one that I'll revisit for sure because I thought this was a nice little bow for the end of it.
The best way I could describe Zdarsky's run was dinner sucked, but dessert was fantastic. Right? Like
Nice. Yes.
it just it ended really positive and I enjoyed it and I liked what happened. And I'm with you, like the cast of characters, almost in like a Loeb sense, you just got a little bit of everybody, right?
Hmm.
Just a little sprinkle of this guy, that guy, and it kind of combined into a unique tale. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. The relationship with Jim and Batman was explored in a new way in this, their current situation. I thought that was fantastic. It was nice getting Jim back in there. Commander Steel, I'm sorry, Commander Star, was a villain that was kind of you roll your eyes until you find out his real
Yep.
purpose, and you like the
Yep.
twist of events there. So it basically just comes down to like Zdarsky was just hampered by following a company initiative for majority of his
Yeah.
run,
Yeah.
because he had to set up fail safe, and I did not enjoy that at
Oh,
all.
that went on way too
And
long.
that yeah, and I mean, I think a lot of his stories just went on way too long because he had
Yeah.
to fit in what they wanted within what he was trying to do. And once he had kind of free reign, he was able to craft some interesting Batman tales. So it's a bit of a bummer because he's a great writer, and I don't think he was given a fair shot, in my opinion.
Gotcha. Yeah. I don't know if he'll ever come back to Batman. Maybe he has no interest. Who knows?
I feel like
But
Zdarsky jumps around a lot. Like he does, like he did Marvel, he did Daredevil and Marvel for a long time. He did a couple Justice League. Well, he did a Justice League book for DC before he did this. Like he hops around. I don't think he stays in one place too long.
yeah, who knows? But I am completely fine. Like you just said, dinner sucked, but dessert was delicious, fantastic, whatever. I'm on board with that. So let's leave it there. I'm good with what's coming next, which is Hush 2, Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee.
Oh, I
Bring
can't
it
wait
on.
for Hush too, bro.
So Yeah,
I'm gonna
that's
troll the hell out of the old man. Oh, Bill's not ready with this. Oh, hush, little Billy, don't say a word. Peter's gonna buy
this.
you a Batman bird.
Yeah, so we'll be talking about that in a month. And yeah, I really look forward to it because we don't know anything about anything with it and what's happening. So I look forward to that. So long, Zdarsky, and a gentleman's handshake and a salute for delivering a good arc as your last piece on Batman. So let's move along now to the next Wednesday, the second Wednesday of February. Pete, Absolute Batman #5. I think you've been the biggest cheerleader of Absolute Batman, so why don't you kick
Yeah,
us off?
totally. Yeah, Snyder is just knocking down my door, thanking me for all the
All the
publicity.
Snyders. Pete loves all the Snyders.
That's God, I like Zach
Oopsus.
more than I
Anyway,
like Scott. I'll say that much.
Absolute Batman #5. What do you got?
Oh, you're asking me. I'm loading it up for the
He's
app.
silent. He's just like, yep.
Sorry. It's just kind of more of the same to me. I'm just kind of going through the motions of this book. I thought this was a little bit better than what I've gotten, but I mean, I just everything's just kind of like, here we go, check this out, badass, rock and roll. He's like, look at the bat signal. That's just everything's just exclamation points and on Monster Energy, and I'm just really kind of done with this.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Black Mask is okay. Um, I just I don't know. I'm at the lower point where I don't enjoy talking about it because I have nothing nice to say. So
Okay. Fair enough.
that's where I'll leave it.
What's funny to me is someone had told me last month's issue they think was the best issue, and I think last month's issue was my least favorite. And then I think this is my favorite issue of the five so far. I
I'm having
actually
such a weird ping pong relationship with this book.
yeah, it's like I can't just be all in on this or all against. I'm stuck somewhere in the middle with it because it kind of is up and down of like I like this and then and to go along with what you said of like the bad shit. I think the art's fantastic from Nick Dragata. I really like his art, especially the flashback stuff. But like right at the beginning there and there's a flashback with Bruce and Leslie Tompkins and she's giving him a shot and she says otherwise that should be the end of you and bats. And I'm like
Yeah.
I just feel every issue has so much get it? But it's not the end of bats with him because he's gonna be Batman. You get it? You get it? You get that, Pete?
Yeah.
Okay. Like
Yeah.
that's the kind of stuff that I just feel like gets sprinkled in every issue and I just roll my eyes of like, no shit, we're reading Batman. Like, god damn, let's
you
move.
know,
Like, it's a little eye rolling. It's like not a huge deal, but once you notice it, you can't not notice it. And then Snyder follows it up with, I think, like really good rhythm and moving this issue where it's not like a ton happens, but what does happen, I think, is like is is fun and I'm saying of like Batman getting tied up on top of the building and he gets the shit beat out of him and everything and kicked out of him and all that. But I do think it's fun. So I actually had like a lot of fun with this issue and it was really quick read for me in the positive way. So there we go.
yeah.
I'm not going to force you to say any other comments or
My,
try to
well,
reel you in anymore.
you mentioned eye rolling, and my eyes did roll when it's like the guy who hand Batman cut off his back.
Yeah.
I was like, of course, the one-handed wonder of Gotham makes a reappearance. But
What was that
yeah,
character in X-Men? I think it was The Last Stand. The dude that he was like the porcupine and he hugged somebody and then he did his like clink and they that he stabbed the dude because he has like the spikes pop out of him. I
yeah,
forget the guy's name
okay. I
is.
don't remember too much because
You don't remember
not
that
long
part?
ago.
Okay, never mind. Well, that's what I
And
think of
MCU
with and I know
X-Men.
this Batman's done it in a previous issue, but there's a guy behind him and he has the spikes on the shoulder on like
Oh yeah,
it's not the God, who were the wrestlers that had the spiked shoulder pads and stuff and
I know who you're
it's like,
talking
oh
about.
goodness.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And you
All
see
right.
this stuff, and it's kind of like, this is like sorry, but I do get another eye rolly part. It's like this is like when Zack Snyder has Batman shooting his gun at people, and people, yeah, and it's like, but you're the same ones that say Batman doesn't do that.
Yeah.
And there are issues here with
It's
some of
just
the
very heavy
fighting
metal. That's
where
it.
it's like this is but this is there's moments
Uh,
of like Batman doesn't do this like but okay
yeah. No, I'm
so
with you.
I say all of that criticisms and all it's still like I said I think probably the most fun I've had with the title yet was this issue so don't know if that'll carry on I don't know I expect next issue for me to have an almost opposite reaction because I'm so back and forth on this book but this one at least was fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's something.
It's a comic.
It's
uh,
a Batman comic book that's
moving
selling
on.
very well.
Yeah. 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 I mean, that's a good thing, I guess, in the end, is that there's Batman. Because if people don't buy Batman comics, there won't be any more Batman comics. So at least
Yeah, yeah.
someone's
So
buying Batman comics.
go ahead, buy it away.
Yeah.
Don't listen to us.
No, don't say that. All right, let's cut that out.
No, no.
Take the time. Okay, Pete didn't say
Oopsies.
anything. Moving on. He said ookses. That's what it was. Let's see. Also that Wednesday, Batman and Robin number 18, Philip Kennedy Johnson. Uh, as it loads up here, as I look to see who the artist is, this is another fun issue to me. There's, he does, Johnson's done a, I've complimented DC in writing Damian lately. My
Several
least
artists,
favorite
by the way.
Robin. What's that?
Several artists.
Oh
This is
God,
broken
yeah.
up. Yeah. So
Jeez. Javi Fernandez, Miguel Mendonça, Carmine Di and Domenico. Okay, there we go. Got three
lots of
artists on this
vowels in
book.
there, guys. Like
My
it.
goodness. I probably butchered most of the names. But I compliment DC lately because Damien's my least favorite. He's a little shit. I wouldn't be
Made a
sad if he
huge
died and stayed
turnaround.
dead. But Johnson's writing him really well to where part of this book, does almost become a little bit like, oh no, poor Damien. But it's not in the eye rolly way that he'd been written, I think, when the previous writer, Josh
Williamson,
Williamson,
right? Yeah.
was doing it, where it was like, my son. This seems a little bit more like, oh damn, okay. Where I can understand him reacting that way, and he's not reacting in a way that's obnoxious. It's I've got this last mission. I'm gonna do it, and then I don't want to be Robin anymore. And it's just like, and that's kind of it. It's like, okay, he's gonna be. It's not like this is the end of
Maybe.
Damien as Robin,
Maybe. It would be
but
great if it
I
was.
appreciate the way that it got there in a non-eye rolly way.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I like the kind of angle that Johnson's taking. Maybe Damian leaves. I think that would be exciting if we've never really had since Grayson really like a Robin that quit, right? And that was on bad terms. So this is a little bit different. This is Robin leaving really uh kind of surprising Batman, whereas I felt like Grayson did it and Batman wasn't surprised at all, right?
Yeah.
At least depending on which interpretation. If you're doing what's it called, old wounds, Batman's surprised there.
Yeah.
Sorry, but yeah, and to me, this like Johnson writes like what I feel is definitive like team up Batman. I
Yeah.
mean, effortlessly. And there's a few other books that also involve the sidekicks that I love, and that's what I'm really gravitating towards this book. Is like I'm not only getting Batman, I'm getting really good Batman and Robin. Then you throw in Red Hood, like you're throwing in Damian Robin, you're throwing in two characters that I've notoriously disliked for at least 10 years into a book, and I found it enjoyable, and the dynamic between all three is fantastic. This book is so good. And you throw in everything that is going on with Gordo here. Um, it's just a really interesting story. I'm all for it. I love Johnson between this and his Hulk book. Like he's just nailing everything. He's been on fire for so long. I really think he's probably one of the unheralded geniuses at DC within like the past 5 years because I feel like everything he's written I've really enjoyed.
I don't. I just feel like I'd read something of his prior to him jumping on here, but I knew that people were
He
a
was doing
fan of his
Superman for a little
work.
bit. I think it was Action.
Okay. But and I was like, I was ready to see somebody else take over this book and what they were gonna do, and this is his first arc, and I really dig it. So, he's
And he's not
gotten
using traditional villain either. So like
yeah,
that's a positive too, because it's like, oh, you're not recycling anything, but it's not, sometimes the guys create a villain and bring in a villain that hasn't been around a while and it sucks. And this just it's working, man.
it's original, but doesn't feel outside of like what a Batman story would be. So I'm all for it. I dig this. I think some of the finer details I need to go back and revisit the previous issues because it did get a little a little hazy for me there for a little bit, but and that didn't keep me from enjoying the book.
Yeah, no, it's good stuff.
All right, keeping it with that second week in February. Batman Dark Patterns #3. I read it. I don't do many because we come here and we can explain with full context or like what about an issue, a review of an issue. But if one makes me really happy, I put a post either on X or Instagram, whatever. And this one I just said Dark Patterns #3 by Daniel Waters and Hayden Sherman. Just chef's kiss.
Yeah.
This is the first, it's We Are the Wounded Part 3. It's supposed to be 12 issues total with 3 or 4 story arcs included. My guess is 4. And this was just freaking excellent. We've had nothing but positive things to say with the previous 2 issues. This, to end it on the Wound Man, eh, end this arc of that, it gets me excited because it ended it in a really good way that totally worked. And it leaves me like, okay, so how are you going to continue? Like, what's next? What's in store next month with the next one since this arc is over? And I just love the blending of the story. It's dark, it's original. Again, like commenting on what you just said, it's not a Batman villain that we know that's come back. They bring isn't the Sionis, I think, is the like the mobbish guy, right?
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
Not Roman Sionis. But and so all of that just totally works and a little bit of history without getting so I really do hate it of in a we're in an era with villains that we have to have the backstory so that we feel really bad for them. Oh my gosh, it's so sorry. But Wound Man never got to the explanation of him never got to that point, and he never was truly completely undeniably evil either, I don't think. He was a bad guy, but it's like we were peeling back the layers of the motivations. And I think that Waters wrapped it up really nice to understand why he was doing what he was doing, why he looked the way that he looked, a little bit of context. Like all of it just totally freaking worked. And then Sherman's art is fantastic. I was trying to figure out what it is. He does a thing with like in shadow with some of the characters, and one's wearing glasses. And he said I think one of the inspirations was The Long Halloween and Tim Sale. I see that sprinkled throughout all 3 of these issues, but some up close with glasses and the way that he hits, like the light hits the glasses with the shadow and stuff, makes me think in that last chapter of The Long Halloween of Alberto when he's sitting there
Hmm.
smoking a cigarette and there's a look that Sale draws him, and I think that I see that all over here, and I think that's great. I think the up close on like page 2 when Wound Man is torturing a dude and he's taking a needle towards the eye. No,
Yeah.
it's not an image. That's a Batman image that I want framed on the wall, but it is something to look at and be like, this encapsulates kind of like the art of like this is a freaking unique style and it looks fantastic. And I just think that's Dark Patterns so far.
Yeah, I mean, Dark Patterns is just a well-balanced Batman book. It's a really grounded detective story with like a really kind of fantastical villain. Like
Yep,
it's kind of a mix of both worlds, and that's kind of I think Batman can play in that world.
I do too.
Uh, yeah, I'm really enjoying what Waters is bringing between this and Nightwing. Like it's just they're fun reads. I see a lot of the Sale influence that you mentioned. I see like this reminds me like his style kind of reminds me of Ice Cream Man, Martin Morazzo as well. Like it's just the way he draws his
Nice.
characters.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. There's a scene where Batman's in the daytime and you kind of question it. You're like, oh man, Batman in the day with civilians, but then like you get to the meat of the story and you find out kind of what's going on, and
Yeah.
it's a little bit more kind of like acceptable, I guess, because I prefer Batman not being in the daytime. Like
Same.
it was a little Adam West, but it does work within the context of the story, so
Yeah.
I didn't mind it. But yeah, I love the artwork. I love the story. I'm very surprised with it. It's one of the highlight books.
Yep.
It's only 3 issues in, and I feel like everyone's got to be reading this. If you're not reading this, I don't know what you're doing.
I agree. It's not too late to jump on board, track down these first 3 issues and read them. You won't regret it.
Is
This
this
is
like in continuity too? Because there's no black label, there's no other label on it. Like
it's I mean it's just a
not like it
Batman
matters,
story.
but yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't it's yeah, I don't know. That's I mean that's an interesting point because yeah, it doesn't say anywhere else worlds or which would definitely not be else worlds. It doesn't say Black Label. It's just Batman Dark Patterns. Like okay,
Hmm.
it's great. Track it down, read it. It's worth it. Pete and I give it the
Interest.
seal. This is where you listen to Pete and I. Listen to us. Read this
Yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah.
Read
Read
this
this.
one. Don't skip out on this one. Let's continue the theme. Next week, another book that you and I have been extremely high on. Another book that is also not a Black Label book or Elseworlds, but uh, I I don't know. Batman and Robin Year One. We've
Okay.
said nothing but good things about this one. Mark Waid and Chris Samney. Another awesome issue. I love how it teased of Dick going to school on the last panel of the last issue. It opens up this one with basically Bruce pissed off. You lasted 1 hour. It was the teacher's fault. And Dick's kind of like a little shit in this one. And that's great to see. And I love the wording of Dick's a little shit. That's just a fun little sentence. Uh, but he's also I think for me, I've always put Dick Grayson on this pedestal. I've got the
Well, he
animated
should be.
series Dick Grayson in my head as like that is my favorite Dick Grayson, Robin, everything. And at
Hmm.
that point, he was a college student. He was mature. He was a great partner to Batman. That's my Robin. This Mark Wade's done a really good job making it fun of him, like Dick at this age being a kid at that age, trying to figure things out, disobeying, pushing back, not following rules, all of that. And then, he didn't take the other car, but he did take the other bike. And I
Hmm.
think that's a fun route to go. Another Clayface, which that's not a spoiler. He's on the cover. More Clayface action. Perfect for the timing, we're getting a lot of Clayface these days with more to come. And I do like it takes away the threat a little bit of the end, but I do enjoy these stakes being raised by what we would imagine would happen because Robin disobeyed. Kind of does happen because Robin disobeyed Batman.
Hmm. I'm going to say this, okay?
All right.
Uh,
All I'll say is this.
I'll say this. Dick Grayson is the greatest Robin of all time,
That's
and
true.
Ryan Hush can suck it. Now that we've moved on from that, this is just a fantastic Batman and Robin book. I like how it displays that Grayson isn't the angel that the other Robins make him out to be. He's kind of always looked as like the golden boy, and
Yeah.
how did Grayson turn out so good? Like it Drake's a little bit like that. But like I feel like Damien's definitely he holds Grayson's time at Robin to a little bit of a higher regard than most within that group. Yeah, I love everything about it. It's a fun Batman and Robin story. It's a fun Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson story. The cover's great, the artwork's great.
Hmm.
It's oh man, like there's like an era that this book is trying to get. It's almost like it's trying to capture what year one captured in its artwork and its time frame. And it's obviously it's early Batman because Grayson's so young, but it's just this is just it's, I read this book and we're like, what, 6 books in? Man, 5 books in, has
Yeah.
Batman really made a huge turnaround
Yeah.
within the past year in terms of just quality. And I'm like, man, this is just another banger.
Yep.
Like, if Absolute Batman is the worst book I'm reading this month, then I feel like I'm doing really well.
That's
And
true.
this just falls in line. It's with Wade. Wade's, his world's finest is, depending on what you like, he knows how to balance Batman perfectly. And it just goes to show you like a good writer can take these characters and do anything with them. I don't
Yeah.
know, I don't know if something like this would translate to like the live screen, live action, big screen, but in print form, I mean, they're just hitting on all cylinders.
I kind of think it can. It's got a good maybe like PG-13 vibe to me. It's definitely not too dark, but it's not too light either. And it's in the vein of the animated series in my
Mhm.
mind. And I think Samney's art is I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And I think it's great and timeless. It's like a lot of like boldness to buildings, character outlines, and stuff like that. And it's a very Darwin Cook influenced
Yeah,
look in my
that's
mind.
another, yeah, his art
And I'm
too is very
okay with
similar to
that.
this.
I dig that, but I think just the atmosphere itself is very timeless. It's not pinpointing in one era, and I really dig that too. And just I think from book one with this, every single month I've been a big fan of this, and we're not even halfway through. It's supposed to run 12 issues, so awesome,
Yeah,
awesome.
no,
Keep it
this
going, Mark Wade and
it's one of the
Christian.
things I look forward to
Yep,
every month. Yeah, it's just a highlight. It just is.
this and Dark Patterns have become a 1-2 punch for me. Obviously last Halloween as well, but yeah, just like boom, boom. Like I read one of them as soon as like one of them right away, and then the other one's not far behind it. So, moving on. That same Mark Wade, the Wade Train, Batman Superman World's Finest, number 36, also came out that same Wednesday. Peter, this continues Under the Sea, 20,000 Leagues. Mark Wade, like I said, Adrian Gutierrez is artist. What did you think of this one?
I had a lot of fun with this.
Yeah,
You know, I enjoy the just kind of almost zany. I read such a specific type of Batman that I think that this kind of it's not really my thing, but it kind of like explores something I enjoy, which is, every once in a while I do like it when they Kowalski out, like I can't deny it, like something like this between Batman, Aquaman, and the Floranic Man. Like that's not usually something I jam out to,
agreed.
but Wade really kind of nails it here, and I love it. Everything's going on with Atlantis and Aquaman, which is kind of similar to what's going on in Aquaman proper. And then you just throw in the element of Batman and Superman, and I think it's interesting. Aquaman's got rule of the sea, where it's almost like Superman's kind of like the king of the land, right? Like Superman steps in, and everyone's like, "Oh, whoa, Superman's here!" Like Superman steps in Atlantis, and Mira's like, "You want to step back a little bit? We've got a king over here." It's a little, it's it's almost very un-American,
Yeah.
right? So it's kind of interesting, but yeah, like it's every once in a while the toy chest can be dumped out, and I enjoy it. And this book is a perfect example of that.
I think because I'm getting The Last Halloween, Batman and Robin Year One, Dark Patterns, I'm
Yeah.
much more open to having this as well. If this was my only Batman comic every
If
month,
this, yeah,
I'd be like, ah,
if this was
because
the
it's
best
not my
Batman was
preference.
every month, I think I'd be a little upset myself.
Exactly.
Not that
But
I'm not
because
enjoying it.
we've got other great interpretations, being very much what I prefer, I can really enjoy Batman stepping out of his element, putting him in the ocean, and doing all of this. And I think it's just a lot of fun. And then like a great capper at the end is that Superman's getting it in. Good for him.
Yeah, I mean, come on, let's be honest.
But
Between
yeah, that's
Lois and Fish Chick, he's
yeah,
got it made.
that's the
And that's
old
great
French
because like
flipper trick.
it's not cheating, right? Because they're in different parts of the earth. Like if you're in different area
Yeah,
codes, it's
sure.
not cheating.
Absolutely.
So if you're in different,
Not the same
one at
species.
land, one at not exactly interspecies relationship, it's not cheating.
Totally,
He's not
totally
cheating, Lois.
different.
He's
But
got
I
his
like
he's got his he's got his land broad, he's got his sea broad, and he's good to go.
I love that it's almost like on that last page where like it's almost everybody's looking at it and everybody's like, "Uh-oh." Never has
Like
so much attention been on getting it in. But
that's it.
all right, Clark. Oh, Clarky boy.
Get it
Yeah,
in,
this
Smallville.
is fun stuff. Let's move on. The last Wednesday of the month, Peter Detective Comics number 1094. I think you
Which
should start
reminds
this
me,
as always.
I've got to
You got a
send Bill my
reviews?
review.
Let's.
I
Oh
wrote
yeah.
it on Monday, haven't sent it. It is now Wednesday.
Uh-oh. Oh boy.
Yeah. So let me just say this: Detective Comics is back, and
Still
we should all
back.
be it's still
We are
back. I
back.
mean, it's just
We are back, Pete.
it feels like I was writing my review, and I was like, oh, we haven't seen this since Tamaki, and I was like, that was the run before the last run. Like that's how long it feels like
Yeah.
in Batman and Detective
Ah,
Comics. Yeah, just new villain. Teens are getting popped off in Gotham City. Batman's got to figure it out. They devise a really cool plan, Trojan horse style, with Damian. And if you want, you can. It's kind of like it's almost like what Dick Grayson goes through in school. He's literally undercover for a day and then he's out. So it's kind of funny, but he got the job done.
Yeah.
Uh, there's been a lot made of this storyline since Batman backhanded that kid a couple issues ago. And then you
Who
kind of,
cares?
yeah, but like through the context of the story, you see what was happening. And it's
Yeah.
not like Batman doesn't care about the youth of Gotham. So like, let's not act like he goes around just beating the shit out of kids.
Yeah.
You point a gun at somebody, you're going to get hit. I don't care who you
Yeah.
are.
Yep.
That is, unless you pull the trigger. But a lot of cool bat tech in here. I mean, the utility belt was in full force. The Batmobile did some great stuff. I mean, this is as Batman as you can get. This is Batman AF. Like like between this and the two Batman and Robin books, this is like what Batman should be, in my opinion. Really, like this is almost definitive Batman. And then you got the artist. I forgot his name. What is his name?
Mikhail
Oh,
Yanin.
Yanin, fantastic use of his colors. I mean,
Yes.
he does everything. He's cover,
Yep.
interior, and colors. And I call it the trifecta. And he does a wonderful job. His layouts are beautiful. His artwork's beautiful. I mean, it's you couldn't. Everything's really coming together. I love this like fat, chunky, broad shouldered forearm bullock. Like it's fantastic.
Yeah.
It really is. What you read the story, and I don't know how anyone can not love this story. And it's just it just feels so good. It just feels good. I
Yeah.
feel like Nico, baby. We're back, baby. We're just back. I'm gonna keep saying it until someone makes me stop. That's it.
So
That's how I roll.
there you go. I'm gonna keep saying it until someone makes me stop. We're so back. I echo everything you said, and I was gonna put some extra like emphasize on the art and how great I think the art is because it definitely goes all over the spectrum of colors, and all of it works too. And it doesn't
Mhm.
feel like it's not Gotham or not Batman. It just totally works across the board. And I really dig that. I dig the moment of Bruce Wayne being Bruce Wayne in disguise of Batman and how he was able to get access to stuff and how he tripped the dude and it even really quick explains like put some emphasis that he knocks his head so if the guy knocks out Bruce can stay in there and get what he needs to sending Damien undercover to reveal some like what's really going on behind closed doors and like all of that's just really good adding to the story that this first arc that Tom Taylor has under his belt on Detective. We're back.
Yeah, I'm
Basically, we're
just
back.
Taylor just nails it, man. I'm just so happy. He's writing detective. I really am. It's funny because what was it Andrew sent me a message on Twitter and he's like, "Why does everyone hate Tom Taylor?" And I'm like, I can't tell you, man. People suck. I'm just like, I think this book is fantastic. It feels great. I hold Detective to such a high regard because it is Detective Comics. So, uh, I just I love it. I really do. I love everything about this book, from the
Yeah,
artist to the writer to the page. It just flows so well. It's wonderful to have Detective back. It really is. It just feels like we're in a good spot.
because we are.
Yeah, we really are, man. I mean, not like I said earlier, like I mean, I like Absolute, but it
That's
gets by
okay.
because I got everything else. Like
Yeah, I was gonna
literally,
say you've got at
like I
least
walk
four
into a
others.
buffet and like I could pick between 10 things out of 11, and it's like fine, like
Yeah,
that's good. I'm straight. I'm not complaining about bullshit.
all good.
I'll let Justin worry about that. He can complain all he wants. He loves doing that shit.
Oh, Justin, who?
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
Rabbi.
Also on the heels of Detective Pete, that same Wednesday, Batman: The Long Halloween, the last Halloween, #5. Now,
Yeah,
this took a month off last month because there was no
felt like it.
holiday in January. Uh, this
Jan
one,
New Year's Day
this
doesn't
was
count.
this was my most like hmm issue but like before I even opened it because Jeff Loeb obviously he's on all of this, but Bill Sienkiewicz
Yeah,
he
sure.
does not he does not work for me. His
No, it
art
is.
is not something that I'm a big fan of. And I do think this issue took me a while to get into, and it just took me a while to get into because the style's just not for me. And I think this is the one issue so far on this I mean, I don't think on the artist carousel of the last Halloween, different artist every month. This one is the hardest one for me to just accept as this is another chapter in the same story. It's because it's a very unique style, and I don't think it lends itself to noir that great, except for the Gordon story. I do think the Gordon story has that. I find myself the most invested in the Gordon aspect of the story. I liked the book, this issue overall, but I found myself more invested in the Gordon at home drama and what the Joker's out doing in his mission. And then was like, oh yeah, Batman. And there is a seed planted of about like what is Catwoman up to? Why is she coming and going Arkham as she wants? That I think is a nugget that's going to pay off in later issues. So overall, I like this issue. Obviously, I don't love it as much as the previous four.
This is definitely my least favorite. I think the artwork definitely plays a part in it, like you said. I like what he does with his layouts and what he was doing, especially with his backgrounds. But his artwork just, to me, it feels like almost a poor man's Kelly Jones in a
Oh,
sense. You know,
yeah,
it looks a little awkward, but it's not, and it's its own thing. It's not my thing. I'm with you. The Gordon stuff is definitely the best stuff in the book. I like that, especially the final like scene of Gordon where he's just like, oh man, defeated, right at the
yeah.
coffee table. Like he's like, oh dude, this is it. Like he's ruining. But overall, like I appreciated seeing my man Grundy pop up, him and Harvey. But like overall, like I was just kind of like I was not into this one. It just didn't vibe with me. This was for the first time I was kind of like,
Yeah.
almost seemed like a little fluff. Like if it wasn't for the Gordon stuff, I was like maybe we could have cut the story down by an issue.
Fair point. But I think there's more here with. I, I'm not pushing back on what you said. Uh,
You can, it's
yeah,
fine.
I already no. I'm because I don't like disagree with you. I did follow the Joker stuff a little bit more. The end, what it's interesting with Two-Face reuniting with someone that he doesn't recognize. It's like, okay, let's see where this goes in the back half of the story. Um, Good, not great, and everything else to me has been great. So we'll see. That's fine. That's fine. It's one issue. All good. Next month, I forget who's on. Oh, next month is Enrico Marini. You and I are big fans of Enrico Marini. He did the
Yeah, but
that
what was
that
that?
Batman story.
Was it
Gosh, why am
Batman?
I
Was it
blanking on?
Joker one? What's with the
Yeah, I
Joker?
was with Joker.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh,
yeah, I
it's
forget
gonna
what.
kill me.
Yeah, I forget what it is, but I remember I tweeted him because I was like, "Hey man, like,
The Dark Prince Charming.
yeah," I was like, "How do you feel like this looks like you inspired the look of the Joker movie?" He was like, "It's kind of cool." Like I was kind of like we had a cool little Twitter exchange back in the
Yeah.
day
If you
when the
follow his
JP Joker was
Instagram,
released.
maybe don't look it up at work. He
Or
he
just look it up on your phone.
he draws anatomy.
Him and
Good
Jim
for him.
Ballant, right?
He does a good
Two of
job.
them.
But yeah. So, anyways, but I really dig his art. So I really look forward to next month. Because next month, the last Halloween will be so back. Let's see, wrapping it up. Main Batman books. Last one on the last of the month. Little Batman, month one, number 4, wraps this up in an adorable little bow. Let's see. Copy paste what we've said the past 3 months. This ends this little mini series on a fun note. Keeps the fun, the innocence about it. It's not annoying. It's just a really good time. It's a lot of fun with the same writer, and I can't find the artist's name, so forgive me. But there we go, John McKell. Same writer as the movie, following the same look as the movie. And this has just been a really fun 4 issue miniseries to me,
Yeah, I
expanding
mean,
that universe, that world.
if you enjoyed Merry Little Batman, there's no reason why you won't enjoy this. It's just works perfectly in sync. It's just a joy to read. It's a breath of fresh air. It's fun. It's quick. You know, it's different. It's a different type of Batman. It's I think it's something for everyone to enjoy. It's just I feel like Steve Helm would love the shit out of this.
From Texas.
Steve Helm tries to talk like that. They would a new one softball playing.
All right. Hopefully he follows up on if he was reading this and if he likes it.
He's like, I really like
I
Batman. I like Batman 66. That car's real cool. I fill it up with gas. It goes real fast.
More of Steve Pelham on Straight Outta Gotham, wherever you get your podcasts. Uh, yeah, and I looked up to see when this is collected and trade, and I don't see a date yet, but I'll definitely be picking this up when it's collected and trade because this has been a lovely little mini series. Big fan. Funny, fun, completely worked for me. So, woohoo! Give us more. We'll see what comes next in the little Batman world. I'll take a cartoon series. I'll take another movie. I'll take another comic series. I don't know. Let's see. Pete, that does it for me in Batman books. So now it's time for your favorite segment.
Why do you hate partners? Why do you hate
I
partners?
love partners.
You don't. You piece of
So
shit.
mine's really quick. My list isn't very long. First off, Two-Face, number three, uh, more of Christian Ward and this is kind of Christian Ward's baby because he loves Two-Face. He said that it's his favorite villain.
Mhm.
He's been the writer on this series, and I'm trying to get us to it says Varys, not Veras. Varys is the art. Oh, there we go. Hold on. I'm getting God damn it. Uh Fabio Varys. There we go.
Fabio.
Um this is issue 3 of 6. Oh, baby doll pops into this
Yeah, that was
episode in
cool.
this issue. Yeah. I mean she's
I
right
haven't
there
seen
on the
her in a
cover.
while.
Interesting. I'm all for it. And totally works. I think totally works for the issue. Totally works with what happens with Harvey Dent in this issue, who's running some things, which is all revealed at the end, which is also gave me some Fight Club vibes. If you read it,
Yeah.
you'll get it. And I dug it. This is a cool way to kind of flip the script a little bit when we're halfway through this series.
Yeah, it was great to see Baby Doll pop up. Wasn't expecting that, even though she's on the cover. Just wasn't expecting her to pop up within the Two Face story in general, right? They just got like, whoa, that seems weird. But the dive into Two Face's psyche here is really interesting. I can't wait to see where it goes forward. It's been a fun little mystery tale, and I just kind of like all the aspects of just insanity and courtroom and all that jazz. Everything that involves Harvey Dent. Like it's a really interesting take.
Yeah. And then second is Nightwing 123. I don't have much to say on this one because though Dexter Soy on the art, his art's fantastic. Dan Waters, we talk about with Dark Patterns. He writes this. This is good, but it says on the front, in the eyes of the fly boys, literally uh human flies, and it kind of went a little weird for me. So
Yeah,
eh,
definitely leans on the
eh.
sci-fi, but compared to where we were for Taylor's Nightwing, it's just I appreciate the change of pace here. I
Same.
don't know how much longer you can kind of rely on the gimmicks, but we'll see where it goes. It is keeping my interest, just because, like I said, it's just so different from Nightwing we've gotten over the past couple years. So I do enjoy the attempts, but we'll see how he kind of finishes up and reins it all in here.
Yeah, and I don't know how long he's going to be on Nightwing, but considering so far this is the fourth or fifth issue, I don't remember, but
Mhm.
I've enjoyed all of them, and this one was just okay. That's fine. It's still a really good average. So, all right,
Yeah.
who else do you got?
I got a Poison Ivy 30, which is a really cool tale by G. Willow Wilson. It goes two different ways. You can read it, I guess, frontwards and backwards, upside down. It's one of those where you kind of turn around and it's the other
Yeah,
side, and they meet in the middle. It's really cool how it works out and happens. It's great. The Poison Ivy book's probably the best Batman side story that you can read. It's been great. It's going on for 30 issues. They keep continuing it. It's selling a great number. So please check that out. I enjoy that. Catwoman 73. Catwoman is on the run. She's using multiple aliases. She's getting shot at, and it's just she's back to being Catwoman. No nine lives, just kind of being a burglar. And then Batgirl 4, just continuing on with Lady Shiva and Batgirl exploding trains. It makes that X-Men movie look like crap. So they did it much better in this book than they did in that movie. Shout out to Simon Kinberg, because God knows how you got to become a director.
oh my gosh.
Yeah, he's horrible, and I think he's doing Star Wars or something. So like, God, that's bad news
Oh
for the whole
God,
thing. Yeah, it sucks for you.
Eric stuff.
Yeah, might as well be the friggin' Russo dweebs. But yeah, no, meanwhile, Batgirl number 4 is a great read, so check that out. Lots of action. It's what they've done with Cass is really cool over the last couple of years. I'm kind of glad she's gotten a chance to speak I don't know if the Birds of Prey movie kind of moved that along forward. That was a real different characterization from Cassandra Cain traditionally. But since that movie, she's been talking a lot more, and I kind of dig it. So I'm thankful for that.
There you go.
That's it.
That
Oots
is
out.
Batman and Batman and Friends in February. Now, Pete,
And Lauer hates redheads.
completely false.
Well, then read
100%.
Poison Ivy.
If I hate redheads, then Pete loves Absolute Batman.
Yeah, well, I guess I do
No,
because
no,
you
yes,
won't
no,
read
no,
Poison
no,
Ivy
no,
because you hate
okay. I didn't
redheads.
say that. Nope, that's not true.
You
Right?
did.
All right, Pete, yet again
Lauer
for the
standard.
going on fourth year now. Thanks for doing the work. Why don't you go ahead and let everybody know where they can find more Peter R. Verra?
Find me on the internet at Pete Illustrated, straight underscore O underscore G at Spidey Coalition and at Batman on film.
There you go.
There you go.
As for the Batman Book Club, like I said at the top of the show, at the very beginning of the show, make sure to follow on the socials to enter for that giveaway. So go to X and Instagram at the Batman BC, and you can find out how you can enter yourself into this giveaway on both of them, X and Instagram. Make sure to subscribe to the Batman Book Club YouTube page because Pete and I this year are going to no man's land. If you want to support the show, there's a variety of ways you can do that. Like I said at the top, patreon.com/the Batman BC, tpublic.com, and type in TBBC for the Batman Book Club. But if you want to support the show and you don't want to spend any money at all, that's 100% A-OK. The easiest, quickest, and most impactful thing you can do to help this show is rate and review the show. So wherever you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, go to the rate review page and rate and review the show because the more reviews the show gets, the more it helps spread the word. And as we all know, that word is panic. So for Peter R. Verra, I am Ryan Lauer. And until next time, remember Batman Comics.
Goodbye, Lauer.
Goodbye, Pete. Thank you.